Good afternoon. This is Eric Johnson. I am the clinical supervisor for the Acclimation to Now program, and I'm going to finish up the third part of this three-part series, which is the three Ds of chemical dependency. Denial is the first component. Delusion is the second. Then today will be on the third, which is defenses. When you hear the word defenses, something should pop up in your brain that's like saying high alert, high alert. I need to know what this is. How do I protect myself? That's what defenses are intended to do. It says all people have natural defense structures. We will not say that defenses are bad. Defenses are necessary and natural survival mechanisms. All living organisms have a defense system. Oh no, I have a phone call going off right now. I'm not sure what to do with that. I'm gonna have to just let it ring, I guess, and then get the message in a minute. This natural survival system often becomes distorted or perverted due to our chemical dependency, meaning the harm we're doing to ourselves, we're not recognizing it as harm. We're misunderstanding it as pleasure rather than something that's doing biological, sociological, and psychological harm to our being. What at one time protected our feelings and egos now is protecting our disease. The defense mechanism has actually started working in reverse in that we are perpetrating the harm on ourselves due to the consumption of substances such as alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, um, subscription medications um, like barbiturates, Secanols, Tuanols, Valiums, opiates like Percocets, hydrocodone, OxyContin, those types of things are really doing a number on us, so to speak, so that the disease concept is foreign to our brains. We don't understand it, but the addiction concept is very real to us and very noticeable if somebody mentions it to you. What we hope to do today is be able to recognize when we are defending our disease and why we are defending it. Our goal is to, as a group therapy, is to be able to recognize our defenses in ourselves and in other group members. We again are not trying to get rid of our defenses, but are able to use them to aid us in our recovery, to help us from being sick, to keep us from being sick. There are four basic types of defenses. One is minimizing, meaning reducing what you believe to be the problem to a mere annoyance or actually not even existing. That's an extreme expression or definition of minimizing. Minimize is making light of the problem. Examples of minimizing are I didn't drink that much, I only got one DUI. It only happened one time. That was years ago. I hear that a lot in my profession of substance abuse disorder um, treatment. I got a DUI, but it was 19 years ago or 14 years ago, something to that effect. Other minimizing defenses are denying, generalizing, and comparing. Rationalizing, meaning thinking this away. I don't really have the capacity to comprehend or understand the disease or harming myself. So I rationalize it by saying I only had a couple of drinks, or I only drink on weekends. I don't drink at the home. I drink away from the house, that type of thing. Those are ways to rationalize my use. Rationalizing is trying to make the incident seem okay. Rationalizing often goes hand in hand with blaming. Sometimes we blame our families or our spouses or our bosses, our society, our government, our God, our culture, our poverty. There's a lot of different areas to blame why we're substance users or even addicted to substances. Examples of rationalizing are if you were raised the way I was, you would drink too. I deserve a drink after the hard day I put in at the office. I wasn't really doing anything wrong. The cops were out to get me. Or my wife made me mad, so I got drunk. I know one of the most popular ones at our job is the cops just wait for guys to leave the bar or gals, which is not true. I always re- reply to that comment by saying that the job of the police officer or the sheriff or the state patrol is to monitor the highways and the streets so that when a person is driving erratic or irresponsibly, they are able to identify that and pull them over and prevent further harm to themselves or to others. So they don't wait for Indians to leave the bar. I live on a reservation here in my city of Toppenish, Washington, where our treatment center is located at. And I hear that so much. It's like they do not wait for you to leave the bar. They wait for anyone to leave the bar, no matter what color they are. There's no racial profiling. They're looking to keep the streets and the highways safe from drunken drivers. Other types of rationalization defenses are blaming, justifying, and projecting. Intellectualizing. That's like, I'm too smart to even have a problem. I have a master's degree. I have a PhD. I have a doctorate. I have an associate's degree. I have a high school diploma. I'm educated. Can't fool me into believing that I have a problem with substances. Not true. Intellectualizing does not get you to overcome your disease or disorder or addiction. It just magnifies the problem because you mask the problem by attributing your problem to a high level of education and that the problem does not exist because I'm so educated. Intellectualizing defenses are defenses where we avoid our feelings by thinking or talking. That's how I do that is my brain gives me the escape route, so to speak. These defenses keep us from actually experiencing the pain of any incident, or we don't remember the pain from a blackout or from a car accident or for ending up in jail because of intoxication and not remembering what caused the pain or caused the problem. Intellectualizing defenses also include analyzing, theorizing, and explaining. Avoidance. I just avoid the problem altogether. Don't acknowledge it. These the avoidance defenses are used to avoid the problem in a variety of ways. The defenses include the largest variety of defenses, or these defenses do. Avoidance, like any of the defenses, is not intentional and can be done in many different ways. Perhaps by changing the subject or putting the attention on someone else or something else, you can live or escape by, so to speak, with your lifestyle or your character flaws can be masked over and people will just accept them, I guess. Maybe by intimidation or anger, we keep others from asking questions or getting close to us. That could possibly be the belligerent drunk. I know in my life, when I drank, I was a very angry, very belligerent, very hostile person. And if I was with a spouse, I would often be such a problem for her that my life would end up being without her based on my behavior, my attitude, my verbiage, how I spoke to the person, the amount of neglect or disrespect or lack of love, whatever the problem might have been. I was very guilty of it because I was angry and I wanted to be alone and be left alone to isolate and drink and further my addiction, but try to at the same time stay in a healthy relationship, which is impossible. Can't do it. Won't happen. No way. Perhaps we joke it away or just isolate ourselves from others so no one realizes we're having a problem because we're never around anyone else. Or very quickly, in reference to that, not being around anyone else, No one might want you around. You might not be able to be tolerated by anybody else. So they're like, hit the bricks, get lost. We don't need you. So that has happened to me. I'll keep that on the DL, but it's happened to me several times. Says these defenses include switching, arguing, being arrogant, intimidation, anger, defiance, silence, talking, joking, smiling, agreeing, complying, basically just trying to be a people pleaser and doing what anybody else is doing so that you can feel accepted or be in the in crowd, so to speak, and not be isolated or I wouldn't say preyed upon, but just exposed as the person that is having all the problems that cannot be um, within the same group or cannot socialize in the group. The type of person that's getting kicked out of taverns or bars or restaurants, getting into multiple fights or accidents, driving accidents, DUIs. Life is just chaotic for that person. And they usually end up ostracizing themselves or being told to stay away or asked to stay away from a normal functioning group of individuals. All right, the conclusion here is that we have to take a hard look at many of the different factors that are involved that keep chemically dependent persons from seeing reality. Our goal is to educate ourselves on how this is happening so we can begin to work on reducing our defensiveness and breaking through denial and delusion. I don't want to continue as a using substance abuser or substance addicted person and go through my life having problem after problem. I know at our program we have files that clients have come in the 80s and in the 90s, in the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s now. So these are ongoing, continuous problems with addiction that, on the surface, seem as though they've never been dealt with or remedied, and multiple treatment opportunities have not availed or created an environment where the person can thrive and be sober and be in recovery and sustain that recovery. So those are problems that have to be dealt with on some level, and usually the deepest of levels. Again, nowhere are we looking to take anything away from anyone, nor are we saying that people who lack insight because of their disease are bad. I know we live in a world that's politically correct and we don't want to have a lot of stigma attached to individuals or labels identifying them as such a individual. So we have inmates that are criminals and we call them recidivists. We have people that are overeaters and they are overweight and we call them obese, not the F word, not that F word. You know what F word I'm talking about in terms of someone weighing too much. I'm the F word. I weigh too much for my height and my weight. But those are things that people tend to cover up and try to soften the blow of having this stigma or this addiction diagnosis labeled on your forehead, so to speak, or in your life. We're just trying to help each other grow in recovery. And I believe that's the end of the slideshow that I have for session 3. And we really are. We're trying to just end the stigma, the problem that is created in every home, in every community, in every state, in every country, in the entire world. Alcohol is the most highly consumed substance in the entire world. And so it's seemingly acceptable behavior because of its legal status. You can turn 21 years of age and go and buy alcohol if you so see if you see uh, fit to do so. So let me just stop right there by saying, um, Tawi Shamash, I love you, which is the Happy language, the Yakima language that I'm not a pro at speaking, but I know a few words, and that one means that I love you. So I will see you on the other side. And before I do close, my contact information is Eric Johnson, 509 and extension 4456. Our program direct line is 509-865-5121, extension 4455. I can be reached also on my work phone at 1-253-778 2834, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that. I don't have the phone on me right now. But anyhow, time for me to go. I will catch you guys on the rebound. Thank you for attending.